All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Discipline Therapy podcast. My co-host could not be here today. Our schedules aren't congruent. However, the show must go on. We can't let you guys not have an episode, like take a week off, because we have to serve you your dose because y'all know y'all fiends and y'all know what that means. I'm serving you your dose weekly of discipline therapy where not everything is completely free. But what is free is it's judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive, free, and some liberty because we are on Patreon for plenty of exclusive content for you to see. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to the Discipline Therapy Podcast. I'm here. I'm gonna state some stuff. As you know, that this is just audio. Because this is a really intense topic, and it's not mainly to be seen, but more heard. Um, so I improvised. So I'm going to talk about some stuff. You guys should be following our social medias. You get updates. You guys should be Patreon members. Link is in the description of the video. And if you're just hearing this audio on Spotify or iTunes, the link will be in there as well. Or just read the description. Follow us, patreon.com/the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Go to our social medias. Go to our link tree, links in the bios. Go to Patreon, become a member. You're going to get exclusive content, bloopers, behind the scenes, updates, upcoming, my solo lectures, discipline therapy talk, BDSM content, erotica posts, and writings by me, yours truly, EO Discipline. Collaboration shows pertaining to sensitive topics such as sexual abuse, rape, domestic violence, transgender, LGBTQ community, children abduction, conspiracy theories. Maybe they're not conspiracy theories if they're true. You gotta tune in, become a member, government conspiracy theories, more with my co-host Suhei and myself. Once again, it's patreon.com, the Discipline Therapy Podcast. But go to the link in the description in the YouTube and just click the link. It will direct you to there and select a tier. My books, EL Discipline Books, you could put that in the search on Google. I'll come up. EL Discipline Books available on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Kindle, electronic version as well, and more. Link is also in the description. Online store for merch, disciplinetherapy.launchcart.store/shop. We have new gear hitting every month. Go check it out. Different categories. We're also on major listening platforms, like I said earlier: Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Castbox, Overcast, and much more. So, jumping back into it, ladies and gentlemen, that's me rubbing my palms together. You guys can't see that, but you're gonna hear it. Um, it is season 12, episode 128, Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. We have a returning, I have a returning guest, special guest, Miss Jolie Elena. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good, good, good. First, state your social medias for me so the audience can.
Um, my Instagram is at Jolie Elena, JolieElena, two A's, and then my TikTok is Jolie Elena, at Jolie Elena, just one A.
Okay, great, great. Your YouTube.
My YouTube is at Tippy Toes, TippitoEZZZ.
Okay, great, great. All right, so I appreciate you coming back. Also,
Appreciate you for having me back.
appreciate the time because I'm New York Eastern time and you are Cali Pacific, so you're 3 hours behind me. So
Yeah.
I appreciate the time that you're giving me. So, divine masculine and divine feminine, I'm gonna jump right into it. In your own words and your own definition, what is your definition of both? So start
Divine
with
masculine.
divine feminine and then
For divine feminine, I think it's about creativity, um, nurturing, and letting loose, I guess. I don't know what the word would be for that, like an articulate word for that.
like
I
free
don't know.
spirited.
Yes, so free spirited, it that's what I think of when I think of the words divine femininity, free spirited, um, nurturing in their own way because the masculine is also nurturing in my opinion in its own way,
Mm.
and creative. Those are the
Before I let you go, okay, those were good. Before I let you go to the divine masculine, define free spirited to me, because I think today in modern society, the world and the people are warped. Their brains are warped, and they might think free spirited is like, empowerment, and women could sleep with whoever they want, and they could do whatever with no accountability. So, what is free spirited? What is your definition of that?
so there's a difference between free spirited and being liberal and not having any values for yourself. So free spirited means you still have values for yourself. You still respect yourself, but your personality is not personality, but like the attitudes you have towards life is not so serious in when it comes to enjoying life. So, for example, it's more about like being positive
Hmm.
and um enjoying the little things in life more. That's what being free spirited means to me.
Okay.
So finding the pleasure in things, like nature. When I think of free spirited, I think of a woman who enjoys the little things, like the smell of her coffee in the morning or flowers. Um, Kind of romanticizes everything in life, and that's her attitude towards life, just romanticizing everything
Mm,
and finding joy in every little thing.
mm, okay. Divine masculine.
Divine masculine is noble, um, I would say, um, stoic, kind of strict in some ways, providing. So that's what I meant by the divine masculine can be nurturing in its own way.
Mm,
I think divine feminine is more providing of maternal energy, mothering energy, and then the masculine is providing in more resourceful ways.
okay. So how would they operate in relationship, like a romantic relationship dynamic with each other?
The divine masculine is the head of every dynamic. So if there's a divine masculine presence, automatically, without even trying, the feminine will feel safe in that presence and be submissive. And it's not in a it doesn't even have to be an intentional submission. It could be an unconscious um submission. So when there's divine masculinity, a woman doesn't even have to try or think about being submissive. She just is. Because the divine masculine proves their trustworthiness. They're very dependable and lets the divine feminine kind of turn her brain off, as in not have to worry about every little thing. Um, Not have like for example, if a couple's going on a trip somewhere on vacation, she doesn't have to worry about the the tickets, what time, it's all planned out by the divine masculine. The divine masculine has order and organization, and they know what's going to happen, and the divine feminine just follows and is happy in that presence. The job mostly is just to be happy and enjoy, um, for the divine feminine, and 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 if the divine masculine has a decision to make, um, for the divine feminine, there shouldn't be an issue because of how much trust they would have in the masculine.
Mm, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Dominant, submissive, king and queen, god and goddess. These are the divine masculine and divine feminine dynamics. Do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and I think you gave your answers on why you agree and disagree. You gave a great elaboration from your perspective. Um, so let me see. I agree with a lot of those things with the masculine, what he's gonna bring to the table and give the feminine. The feminine has to be present. And she can only be that when, like you were saying, he provides all those things. She's not all over the place. She's not like afraid to ask for help. She's not thinking she has to do everything herself. She can put her mind at ease and be present in the dynamic because he's taking care of a lot of the things. Her job is to lighten the load. So, if he's providing, she should be lighting the load up. So that can mean the littlest things: cooking, being nurturing, giving him a massage,
Yeah.
supporting him emotionally, not nagging, not complaining, being appreciative of the things that he's doing, even if it's the littlest things.
Yeah.
So the masculine has a big responsibility, and the feminine can only thrive under comfort. The
Yeah.
masculine does not thrive under comfort. Yeah, actually, like he actually gets bored. He actually starts to regress from his energy. The masculine is built to constantly keep going, like the Energizer Bunny. Constantly has to stay on his purpose. Constantly has to be a provider. In whatever aspect, doesn't necessarily mean just financial. So that's the balance with the two. Do you think it's contradictory if someone believes in masculine and feminine energy, but they don't believe in spirituality? Do you think that's contradictory?
Um, it depends what you mean by spirituality. Like in what way? Like in a new age type of way? Or, I mean, if they just mean spirituality and we all have spirits, and I mean, no matter what religion you come from or what you believe in, I mean, we all kind of believe in some way that we all have souls and spirits. So I do think it's a little bit contradicting if someone doesn't believe in spirituality, in that sense.
Yes, it is. It's contradictory. We're born with both energies. As we come from both male and female. However, when we are not in our core energy, men, masculine, women, feminine, there's an imbalance. Individuality is what I'm talking about. So, when we talk about spirituality, we're talking about the masculine and the feminine energy. So it is contradictory for someone who even talks about masculine and feminine energy, if they aren't spiritual, or maybe they don't even have to be spiritual, but don't believe in spirituality, you
Yeah.
know, because like I said, we're born with both. So, when the man is in tune with his feminine energy, he is like compassionate, he's collaborative, he's patient, he's understanding. When the man is highly in his masculine and doesn't isn't aware of his feminine or suppresses it, you know, he's not going to be able to understand the feminine. And
Yeah.
when the woman is in her highly in her feminine, but she can balance her masculine, she will understand the masculine, and she could get masculine, maybe she goes to school, maybe she has a job, brings up
Mm.
that boosts that ambition,
Yeah.
that logical or decision making, skills and stuff of that nature. Can give him ideas, motivate. That's when she's turning up her masculine. I'm gonna kind of piggyback off what you were saying earlier when you were defining the divine feminine.
Hmm.
The divine feminine is aware that her power lies in surrender, that and her vulnerability, her emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. I wish I brought that up. That's what I meant to say. Surrender.
Hmm.
So they allow help. They allow themselves to be helped and aren't the first one to initiate um action. She lets other people initiate action.
Yeah. So so she's aware of her power, and that lies in her surrender and her vulnerability, her emotions. She's a born nurturer. She is free in her femininity and a slave when she loses sight of this and fights her nature. She doesn't conform to the modern times. She thinks for herself. She doesn't need external validation from others to feel enough. She uses proper spiritual discernment who she bonds with and is around. She sees a relationship as a collaboration or herself as a helpmate and not a competitor or a competition. She uses her words and feminine energy to nurture and grow and uplift, not tear down. She's aware and not scared of her femininity. She doesn't see it as a weakness, but a strength. She's aware of her true power is what lies within. Do you agree with all these things or not?
100%.
Okay. So, in the divine masculine's power lies his leadership, his ability to protect, logical thinking, hunt, be compassionate, dominant, solution oriented, competitive, fierce, emotionally resilient, and emotionally intelligent. If a woman rips him of this or desires equality, she rips him of his power or attempts to. This is the same as if a man were to place a woman in the masculine role or to be equal. He's ripping her of her grace and her power. Men's superpower is masculinity as women's is femininity. When they're in the opposite of their core, they're a slave, when they're opposite of their biological design. What do you think about that?
I agree.
Okay. Do you think it is contradictory or a contradiction for an alpha feminist to desire an alpha dominant man?
Alpha feminist. It is
Why?
because I think the values of a feminist is usually non-traditional. So I don't know how they would want an alpha. Well, okay. I think it's pretty natural for every woman to desire an alpha male,
Why?
no matter just because that's just how what typically women are attracted to, but not consciously. So in a way, it's not contradicting because maybe she's just attracted to that, and she doesn't even know that it's what she's getting herself into. You
Hmm.
know?
Hmm. Okay, that's fair. I believe it's contradictory. Um, because of what she stands for. So if she's an alpha feminist, she's made that clear, whether it was to the public or that man.
Yeah.
So she's about equality, she's not conservative, she's liberal, she she will nag, she will complain, she will put herself first. And if she's not getting spoiled or whatever, that will be a problem as well. um she will take on the masculine role if she has to. Doesn't matter if she feels like she has a man, she will do that. She will feel like it's disrespectful for you to not give her equality. So she will make that known, even if she is unaware of the term. She will make that very clear that that's what she wants. Don't control me. She has a problem with that word.
Yeah.
In the bedroom might be different. She might want to be submissive in the bedroom. In certain aspects, when she's indecisive, has those indecisive moments. Oh, what do you want to eat tonight? Where do you want to go? Trips, like you were saying earlier. That's probably when she, you know, regresses or steps back. It's contradiction. It's a contradiction.
Yeah.
It's like an oxymoron. However, due to nature, obvious, yes, absolutely, she will be attracted to the alpha dominant man due to her nature because that man's energy, we go back to spirit, is dominating her spirit. And she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. She said, why am I getting turned on by this guy? He's just taking charge. Why? She doesn't know. She's confused. She's fighting her nature. That's why. Because she's born a woman. God and the ancestors made man to give woman what she can't find from the opposite sex or a profession. So she's getting turned on because now she's like, oh, she's remembering she's a woman now. That's what it is. But it's contradictory because what she stands for. So that's why you'll see often that the rah-rah chick, strong independent, who will be like that outside or even say that to her man in private when nobody's looking, she's crying for him. She's on her knees. She's calling him daddy. She's begging. She's getting her femininity. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's both ways, but it's a contradiction. It's a contradiction because what she puts out there and how she approaches her dynamic.
Yeah.
That's why. That's like me saying I'm a traditional man, but all I do is fuck with hoes.
Yeah.
You understand what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like all I do is fuck with hoes. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care about any type of commitment at all. I'm not trying to build any type of long-term meaningful relationships. I'm just banging chicks different week. That's contradictory. I'm not
Yes.
traditional then. I'm not an alpha dominant man. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a contradictory. Maybe like, behind closed doors, you might say, oh, eventually, I want to marry the good girl or whatever. But a real alpha dominant man always has the good girl. He'll probably turn her out for him specifically, but he's not gonna mess with the hoes. Like those women will just turn him off. They might look good, but long term, he's not keeping them around. So
Yeah.
it's a contradictory because it comes down to what you're standing for. If she's a hardcore feminist and wants to be this and is so headstrong and stubborn on it, it's contradictory. But like you said, she's going to go back to her nature when she meets that guy because the alpha dominant guy is stubborn. He's not relinquishing control. When she gets into that dynamic with him, it's going to be a fight, but it's going to come down to him giving up or her. But if he's really who he is, she's going to end up giving up or she's going to run away. But most likely she will give up and she will submit because she'll realize this guy is like a handful. Most guys that give up are not really who they are. Do you agree or disagree?
Repeat that. Most guys that.
Most guys who just give up, they will submit. They say that they're this, but they revert to the other way are not who they are. So for example, you are conservative. I'm gonna assume, right?
Yeah.
Because you also said that in the last show. Because I tested you. I was like, quick, conservative or liberal? You are conservative. So if you meet a man, I'm gonna get into the next bullet, who's modern, and he wants to put you in a position to be equal, and you are okay with that, are you really conservative?
No.
That's what I mean.
Okay. I understand the question then. Yeah. No. You have to stick by what your word is.
So now with the modern man desiring a traditional feminine submissive woman, do you think it's contradictory?
To.
Men today, of today who
Mhm.
behave modern, who say they
Mhm.
want the traditional feminine submissive woman. Is
Mhm.
it contradictory?
100%.
Now, would that also go back to what you were saying earlier with the law of nature? Because they're a man still, they still desire this? Or
Yeah,
is it
they still desire it, but it's the same thing with how a woman, a feminist, would naturally desire an alpha male. But in the end, both of them aren't going to be able to be with them. But it's natural to desire that.
mm, you think you think they're not gonna be with them? Why?
It just wouldn't last because a traditional woman would not let herself be with a a modern man.
That's
Like she will not tolerate it.
that's the answer I was looking for. See how I pulled that out of you?
Yeah.
The longevity. It wouldn't last. It's inconsistent. Remember, the feminist, right? The alpha
Mhm.
feminist, she still has that in her.
Mhm.
Whether she's a feminist due to childhood trauma, she was the oldest daughter, feminist friends, social media, television shows, music, whatever it was, right? Abuse, whatever, every type of man she's got with wasn't reliable. She had to do everything herself. She will still have that in her. It's like a drug.
Yeah.
So those guys, they'll get bored with the traditional feminine submissive woman. They're gonna want maybe a little crazy for balance. She's gonna be too boring. It's not sustainable. Some people can't handle peace too long.
Yeah.
You know, a modern man is a modern man due to trauma, and he's unhealed. That's why he's still modern. A alpha feminist or whatever, because I don't believe a woman is an alpha. That's associated with male. So a masculine woman or a manly woman who wants equality and is liberal, that's built from trauma. She's fighting her natural state. She's fighting the natural law.
Yeah.
So that's why it won't last, because sometimes the trauma wins. It's like vampire stories. The thirst always wins. You could fight it and fight it and fight it, but the thirst always wins. Sometimes the trauma prevails because the peace is unfamiliar. The healthy is unfamiliar. And that's why sometimes it doesn't last with both parties.
Yeah, I agree.
Why in today's society um, is that a woman can do whatever she wants, be whatever she wants, but a man is clearly defined. Like
But
there's not a solid answer for what a woman is.
yeah.
So why is it in society that a woman can be whatever she wants, do whatever she wants, but a man is clearly defined?
Um, I think it's because for 2 reasons. One, because times have changed and not for the better, obviously. So people are too scared to speak up about anything that's nearly conservative. Because I'm sure in, the 1950s or in the last century, there was a definition for what a woman should look like, or there was etiquette and manners that we all expected from both men and women. And now people just don't do that anymore because the narrative is to be a feminist and woke and all of these things. So it's offensive and it's controversial and it's like a taboo topic that we shouldn't talk about. Um, and then another reason is because in general, it sucks, but it kind of is the way it is. Because the divine masculine is the head of, the dynamic, and they are the leader naturally. Um, we expect more from the leader, and the leader, like, whether we're conscious of it or not, society unconsciously recognizes the masculine as the leader. So we put more blame on the leader. we put more blame on the masculine and definitions for the masculine because that's what the masculine is. It's the role is to be a leader. So they take, responsibility in the good and the bad. And so, yeah, men build our whole society and structure, but that also comes with society also um, defining them more and putting the blame on them more, which sucks. I think also men should, I guess, kind of have trouble with setting standards for themselves. If men set higher standards for themselves, then there would be more expectations for women. But I guess men are, I guess, kind of get blinded by a woman's beauty and, just by their looks, and they can't control their, you know, their
Hmm.
hormones and their sexuality. So they just let anything slide, honestly. And so that leaves us with no expectations for women or definitions for women. Society doesn't expect anything from women in anymore because men also kind of let it happen. They let it slide. They don't have standards for themselves anymore.
Mm. You said a lot of great things. Um, Man, I don't know if I could add to it. You said a lot of great things. Why this is the way it is. Uh, I think also I'm gonna add women are the cash cow. They hold the credit cards metaphorically. They spend more. They're in the malls, supermarkets, whatever. More. They are the primary number one consumers. Um, a lot of things is catered around them, and I think you're right. It comes down to the leader aspect, and because women are the lesser sex or the weaker sex, we always have to protect them. We always got to provide for them, and that is why there's a expression "man up." That is why there's phrases like, oh, you're, like you got to be a real man, and stuff of that nature. But there's not like a expression for like woman up or something where you're big girl panties, get it done. Like there isn't. Cause like I
I,
said, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. It's, I mean, even if there was, it shouldn't ever be, woman up, because it's not the nature of a woman. It should be more like, oh, that's not ladylike. That's not what a woman would do. And there are terms like, oh, that's not ladylike, but you definitely don't hear it that much anymore. Like if a woman is on OnlyFans or if she dresses a certain type of way or if she's nasty, no one is saying be a lady,
Mm,
act like a lady anymore.
mm. I agree. I definitely believe in the term woman up because I
Oh,
believe, say it again.
I was just saying, oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm gonna explain. I believe that man and woman is divine.
Mhm.
You see, males and females are not. We're born that way. We didn't work on ourselves. We didn't heal ourselves. We didn't elevate in life. We're not in tune with spirituality. You're just born with a vagina. You're just born with the dick. You
Mhm.
understand? So you're a male, you're a female. But the moment you get to woman and man, you have elevated, ascension. You understand? So I believe that man and woman is equate to divine. Male and female is not. So man up, divine. Woman up, divine. In my opinion, it doesn't mean for her to turn her masculine up. It just means get in your divine feminine.
Oh, okay.
A woman who's overly emotional, talks a lot, speaks out of emotionally, that's not a woman who's in her divine feminine. That's not a woman who's even acting feminine. That's a woman who's
Yeah.
acting very masculine. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The part of a woman's power is silence.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Speak when spoken to type stuff, support
Mhm.
the masculine. That's her power because her words are powerful.
Yeah.
Remember, women are in tune with more spirituality than men. They control the spiritual realm. Men control and protect women in the physical one.
Yeah.
So everything about us is physical. That's why the man got to provide. He got to protect. He got to do this. He's the leader. The woman, on the other hand, she supports better emotionally because that's a spiritual thing.
Yep.
You see, so woman up simply means get in your divine feminine because we are gods and goddesses with amnesia. We have power. So we're losing sight of our power.
Yeah. I love that. Uh, that what you just said. We're gods and goddesses with amnesia.
Absolutely. Our mind is powerful. What we speak into existence is power. Our presence is power. If you are light and you are really light, you can enter a dark room and light it up. You are high value. This is what this means spiritually. You go anywhere and you elevate it. You go to a job, that job elevates, makes a lot of money. People come into your life, they elevate. Any
Yeah.
project you do, dominate. And that's for men and women. She steps out into the world. You're like, wow, she's glowing. She's radiant. She's getting in her divine feminine. The soul can recognize it, even though we don't put terms to it. But you feel a certain energy when somebody's in your presence. You get chills. You don't feel that with another guy. But that one guy that steps in the room, you're wondering why you get chills. Maybe that one woman comes in and you're wondering why, like, you're feeling a type of way. Maybe the hair stands up a little bit straighter on your arms or the back of your neck. That's the
Yep.
spirit in the flesh that I'm talking about. There's a big misconception that we live in a physical realm. Just because there are walking, talking people doesn't mean that. I could have an ancient Egyptian spirit in me. You never know. You could have an ancient goddess in you. Will you know?
Mhm.
Will you
Mhm.
know until you get in tune? You start meditating, you start praying, you start getting in tune. And you might know. You're starting to realize your power. What is your purpose on earth? Your purpose might not be the same purpose as mine. It's definitely not the same purpose as mine. I'll tell you that. Your purpose is probably not to make a shitload of money and be highly in your masculine. That might be my purpose.
Yeah.
That might not be your legacy. That might not be what you want to leave behind. Your legacy might be you being a wife one day and nurturing, raising children, or at least assisting in that.
Yeah.
So it's like it's knowing yourself. So I believe there's a man up and there's a woman up because that is divine. So I really appreciate you coming on.
I
You,
appreciate you for having me.
you are very intelligent for your age.
Thank you
N-
so much.
Not just that, you're in tune.
Thank you.
You're in tune. I tested you the last show. You are
Mhm.
who you say you are and what you're about. I watched some of your videos and stuff too. You're pretty consistent. Um, do you have any final thoughts? Do you like the show, hate the show? Do you have a problem with me and what I say?
No, I love the show. I haven't had any issues with anything being said. I so far agree with a lot of it, and it's kind of, in my opinion, stands out because a lot of the content with, like, these concepts are more religious based and you're going off of more spirituality, which
Yes.
I think is cool. So a lot of podcasts or content is, Christian, and I respect that. I respect that. But it's cool. It's like a breath of fresh air to see someone talk about it from like a spiritual
Hmm.
place.
Yeah, I mean, religion can be dangerous
Yeah.
because if you're like, because I see it all the time. Like, if you're if you go to church all the time and you say you're a hardcore religious person, but then you do like like unworldly, unmoral things, it makes people that are trying to follow you not even want to go to church because they don't
Yeah,
believe it. Like if they see the pastor doing crazy shit, like he cheats on his wife, he touches little boys, he steals, he kills, he's telling you to pay your tithe because that's gonna make you blessed. But in reality, he's stealing your money. He's trying to pay his car note and stuff. If stuff like that is happening and you find out about it, it makes those people not want to go to church. That's why a lot of people stay away from the church because people that actually go to church and are religious, they don't live that 24/7. So that's why it's actually more to get into spirituality. I'm not saying somebody can't be religious, but they should get in tune with both because it's dangerous. Like a lot of religious people don't really like they're hypocrites.
mhm,
So it makes like when outsiders see this, they question God. They question, is there a God? If all these people are doing on these unholy things on a daily basis, but then only on Sunday they're holy. You see what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like you don't practice what you preach. That's pretty much what it is. Like, why the hell do you even go to church? Why are you religious? It makes people on the outside say that. So me personally, like, I feel like more people need to get more in tune with spirituality because that's where we come from.
yeah, and I think for me personally, I don't think the issue is, I mean, that is an issue, but I don't think that's the main issue with religion because it could be a good religion, and as long as you understand and learn that you could genuinely try to be a better person, but you're not going to be perfect and you're going to do bad things. I think that's a good concept to learn and understand. And I don't think that contradicts religion because, or I don't see Christians as hypocrites because I know that true Christians genuinely try their best. And if they do something wrong, they're still trying, you know? Um,
There's hypocrites in every religion. It's just
yeah,
that
yeah,
there are a handful who really stick to their word and really religiously, the operative word, pun intended, right?
yeah,
Religiously um do that, religiously. You understand what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like they live it 7 days a week. They're
yeah,
stubborn about it. But like you said, we are human and we're gonna have our setbacks, but it's all about taking accountability. Sometimes because some people are so holy, they're like, no, I don't need to take accountability. I'm perfect. That's the problem.
yeah,
You see?
yeah,
So yeah, there are a handful who really live it, but most of them are hypocrites. That's why a lot of people stray away from religion because they see the people who live it don't live it for real.
yeah,
That's like me talking about BDSM constantly, but then you'll catch me like, with women who aren't submissive or doing vanilla stuff, other than like obviously vanilla things like, going out, movies, dinner, whatever, having conversation, I
mhm,
mean, talking about it, like, yeah, but you know, it's like okay, am I 1 foot in and 1 foot out? Because if I'm 1 foot in 1 foot out, then people are not going to take this lifestyle seriously, and that's what it comes down to.
yep,
So there's a lot of practitioners, there's a lot of participants, very few leaders, very few educators, very few like ride or die, steadfast, I'm gonna live this no matter what. Good
yeah,
times,
and
bad times.
yeah, I agree, but I just personally don't consider myself a Christian. But I consider myself more spiritual, but not in the new age type of spiritual. I don't, that's a whole other topic. I
Yeah,
could, it's a whole thing, but I consider myself more spiritual. But I also think that in spirituality, we could also have that where we call ourselves spiritual, but we're not acting spiritual.
yeah,
I know I've seen like people who claim they do yoga and they do all of these things, but they're a hothead, they're impatient. So I think that's with any belief. But I understand how, like, religion has more of that, standard because religion is more strict than spirituality.
If a woman, yeah, you're right. You're right. Religion is more strict than spirituality. If if a woman is spiritual, says she is, promotes it,
Mhm.
but you know, twerks, shows her ass cheeks online, um, speaks provocatively, is that contradictory or it's still it's cool?
It's definitely contradicting because how did what does she know about spirituality if that's what she's doing?
Mm, makes sense. Mm, okay. Well, Jolie, thank you for coming on. Um, I really appreciate you. I appreciate your perspectives. I liked a lot of them. But once again, you're conservative, so even though I'm masculine, you're feminine, our views are similar on how we look at the world. you know.
Yeah.
So that's dope. All right. So thank you for coming on once again.
Thank you so much for having me. I could honestly continue with the religion thing. That should be separate.
Yeah, that could be a separate topic. I don't really deal with like politics, religion,
Yeah,
homosexuality and stuff like that. But I do have like the Patreon that I talk about stuff like that.
that's cool.
So yeah, if you ever want to come on, I could hit you up and we could definitely dive into that. That would be a long conversation.
Yeah.
Cuz I have a lot to say about that. But, due to like YouTube and regulations and guidelines, I don't
Mhm.
want videos being taken down and demonetization because this is an educational show. So if I put something out that, people need to hear and it gets taken down, it's like kind of like a waste. And that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I created Patreon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I could definitely bring you on for that and I could have Suhei, my co-host, and we could all get into it because I'm pretty sure she has strong views as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you once again. We'll be in touch as always. Okay.
All right.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen. She's done. I'm not done. I'm going to kind of give some final thoughts and then I'll wrap it up. And that's it. So, my final thoughts on divine masculine and divine feminine. Like I said, these terms mean godly. That's what divine means. It means getting in tune with your God, being in God mode. This does not mean go to church every Sunday and get religious and stuff like that. You could do whatever you want to do. Um, but this is more so knowing yourself, knowing your triggers, knowing your good and bad triggers, knowing your trauma, healing from that, breaking generational curses, getting in tune, knowing what your gender specializes in, knowing what your gender's purpose on earth is. It isn't equal, getting in tune with yourself, so you can be a good partner, wife, husband, father, mother, co-worker, boss, whatever you choose to be. um it's an elevation. Each one teach one, like Denzel said. It's ascension. It is like knowing what your power is and stepping into your power. Femininity is a power, masculinity is a power. And when it is incongruent with the gender, female is feminine, masculine is male, it is even more powerful. So when the man can balance both, he's gonna get everything he wants. When the woman can balance both, she's gonna get everything she wants. She'll be in tune. Her intuition will be up to par. She'll have better spiritual discernment. She'll know who she's gonna give sex to, who she's gonna allow in her circle and not. She's gonna choose. The man is going to provide. He's going to step in as a leader. He's not going to relinquish that control. That is his power. And if you're trying to be equal or relinquish or rip me of that, you're ripping of my power. And he's going to build resentment. He's going to articulate. He's also in tune with his emotions and his feelings. He talks. He doesn't keep his mouth shut. A lot of men do that. They shut their mouths. They let women get away with things in a job, whatever. They let shit slide. Women don't know what they're doing wrong. They're never held accountable. It keeps going like a bad cycle. Women are not in tune with their femininity. They can't ask for what they want. They can't ask for help. They're not dependent on the masculine. They struggle with submission. They struggle with surrender. They struggle with vulnerability because they cannot really fully trust. So they cannot be present. And when the woman can't be present in that dynamic for whatever reasons, she hasn't healed, too much male energy around her, in her DMs, multiple dates, different guys she's fucking. She's not able to be present. Her femininity is fucked up. It's wounded. She can never have female intuition. Her female intuition is fucked up. When men are not on their purpose, they're having meaningless things, pleasures, whatever it is, instant gratification. They don't have sexual discipline. They don't have self-control. They're wounded as well. They're getting fucked up. They're not going to be able to ascend. They're not getting in tune with their masculinity, and they're not diving into their power. This is easier said than done, but at the end of the day, you got to be willing to put in the work if you want the reward at the end, because there is a reward at the end, but you got to be willing to be consistent and put in the work. Most people will just do it for a month and they don't see results and then they quit. Most people, it's not in them. They're just following other people, saying what other people are saying. It's not really in them. They just don't care. But at the end of the day, the right way is the natural law. It's unequal. And the irony is that is a match because we're supposed to be complementary opposites, not equal. Men and women will never be equal. We don't love the same. We don't think the same. We don't engage with each other the same. We don't operate in the relationship the same way. So this is the balance. And when we can get in our core energies, we can connect better. So there's a disconnect in this world because we're straying away from the natural law. We're straying away from our natural biological design. And we're allowing these outward, man-made, mechanical engineered things and products, mess with our DNA. And what we need to do is get back in our DNA, exercise, pray, meditate, think logically, be dependent upon. And I'm talking about masculine and feminine here. Be dependent upon, be independent, be collaborative. The feminine, the man be independent, provide safety. That's the number one thing the masculine has to bring to the table because the feminine thrives under comfort. So most women today are fucking with guys that they don't even trust and respect, but it's because they think it's self gratification. Well, I'm getting off too. I'm doing it when I want. It's when I say. It's detrimental, and they're not looking at it long term. So the divine feminine is built to know how to properly discern. She is thinking long term. She's not going to put herself out there if it's going to ruin her reputation or make her look a certain way. She has proper discernment. So the masculine's going to lead, he's going to provide no matter what. Like, he's not really emotional. The feminine is okay, is right to be emotional, not overly emotional, but she's a right to be emotional because she's in her femininity. The masculine is not going to be so emotional. He's going to think logically. He's going to move logically. Even if he loves you, it's not going to be the way she loves him. You know, he loves her more on a logical aspect, like not idealistically. You know, he's falling in love with the woman's character, perhaps. She was there when I was, hurting, ride or die. I love that about her. He's not falling in love with the superficials. A man in his masculine energy is not falling in love with the superficials. That's why sometimes you see a man and a woman together and you're like, man, like, hey, they don't look right together. Or he looks like he could be with better, or she looks like she could be with better. You don't know that dynamic, So what does she do? She probably brings him peace, while the bad chick who's a 12 or 10 gives him headache, and he's not willing to deal with that for too long. He could still fuck her because he could still pull those chicks, but he's not gonna have those meaningless long-term relationships with them because he's in his masculine. He's not built to go back and forth with women, nagging, complaining, and stuff of that nature. He wants submissive, feminine women. So the woman who might look like a 8 or a 9, which is still pretty good, not a 10 or a 12, brings him peace as well. Brings him security, can support him emotionally. Say she knows her purpose. She knows that he's her purpose. And she gonna build a legacy with him, by whether having his kids or being there to help as a helpmate, whatever, in his endeavors, whatever she's helping him in. She knows that that is part of her purpose. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to this Therapy Podcast. Peace.